Man, it's a good time to be a Digimon fan. Between the new anime and the new game, Digimon Story Time Stranger, we are eating good. I can't believe Bandai is actually capable of cooking for once. See, I grew up watching the Digimon anime because the Pokemon anime just didn't exist. No TV channels broadcasted here. I guess the license was too expensive or something. I also played a ton of Digimon games. Like on the PS1, I played Digimon World 1, World 3, Rumble Arena, and then on the PS2, I had Rumble Arena 2, and unfortunately, I played Digimon World 4 as well. Later on, as a teen, I got my grubby little mitts on a used 2DS. I played Digimon World Redigitized Codebreaker, it's a mouthful, with an English patch. And I cherish my memories of playing these games. Although English is not my first language, so being a 7-year-old with poor English comprehension, I never got far in World 1. I never got past the starting forest, and the only Digivolution I ever saw was Numamon. Compared to Digimon World 3, where I got decently far without understanding anything, and Digimon World 4 is Digimon World 4. But Digimon World 1 is special. It was the one that I always came back to as a kid. And even though I knew I wasn't gonna go past the forest, I know I was gonna get Numamon every single time, I still kept coming back because as a kid I always wanted to be like those Digidestined. I always wanted to be in the digital world, hanging around with my Digimon partner. But I just couldn't do it due to the language barrier. But now as an adult, that barrier is not holding me back anymore. So I figured I'll hop back into the digital world to see what kid me missed out on. The game starts with a CGI cutscene straight out of the year 1999. Just look at those vaguely humanoid creatures.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that?
After seeing that nightmare fuel, we see something that doesn't look like ugly Play-Doh. A fight between Metal Greymon and Metal Mamemon.
We'll see who wins now.
Peak cinema. After that Kino cutscene, we see this old bag called Digimon who asks us some question. Depending on if you want to be edgy or not, you'll start with either an Agumon or a Gabumon. After our MC comes home to a loving Asian mother, whose love language is by being absent and leaving a note saying food is in the fridge. The MC is really lucky because if this was my mom, I would have gotten beaten with a slipper for coming home this late. This is the nicest Asian mother I have ever seen. And before our MC can dig into some cold lasagna, his Digitama keychain starts tweaking out and we get sucked into the digital world. Standing before us is Digimon, who was the one responsible for dragging this poor child to the digital world. Digimon here explains that Digimon in the city has started to lose their memories and eventually leads to them leaving the city, and now it's our job to wrangle these clearly mentally unstable Digimon back into the city. The reason? So they can pay high tax income to Digimon. And to help with our task is our own Digimon partner, who I named Goober. And from here on out, we're free to go wherever we want, do whatever we want to do. There's no tutorial, no explanation, no nothing. You are fully on your own. So let's talk about general gameplay. This game is a monster raising sim based on its Tamagotchi origin. So that means you need to feed your Digimon, you need to train your Digimon, and most importantly, you have to take them to the toilet. Very nice. To get food, you talk to this little guy that runs the meat farm that grows from the ground, don't ask. And to train your Digimon, you go to the green gym that has a variety of training courses for your Digimon to do to increase their stats. And if your stats meet a certain requirement, your Digimon will digivolve into a higher tier Digimon. Unlike in future installments, this game does not have Mega Digimons, so the highest level you can reach is Ultimate level. Past the city and training area, we get immediately jumped by a wild Agumon who is clearly not right in the head and initiates our first fight. You see, you don't get to control your Digimon directly, but instead you shout commands which your Digimon may or may not listen to. So your only contribution to the fight is by slapping your Digimon with items so they don't die. You can also fire up this ultimate move once this bar fills up. After beating his ass, this Agumon goes back to the city, giving us our first city upgrade, which is an item bank to store items since our pockets are very finite. The more Digimon we bring back to the city, the more services we get access to later on. Further into Native Forest, I find this talking flower that's obviously not a Digimon. After annoying it a few times, it fights us. Now me being a reasonable, logical adult, thought that this was gonna be easy. It's gonna be a cakewalk. This Digimon is obviously a plant and Goober is an Agumon. Fire beats grass. It makes sense. So this will be easy. And just like that, we lose one heart and we got robbed by a plant. When you lose all 3 hearts, your partner Digimon dies and it won't pass down any of its techniques that it learns when it turns into an egg again. So I'm gonna try to be careful moving forward. After getting the ass beating of a lifetime, we started training our Agumon to make sure that that won't happen ever again. But eventually we're forced to stop anyway as we've ran out of food. The only way we can get food is by foraging for mushrooms in the forest. While foraging for mushrooms, we encounter this ugly little bug that's asking for food. And me being a nice guy said sure and handed him some of our mushrooms. It must have been laced with something because the Kunemon immediately attacked us. After beating him, he runs back to the city. Apparently he ate some grass which made the bridge area accessible from the city. Cool. Past Kunemon's bed is a small beach area where a chill Koalamon helps us get across the other side of the broken bridge by jumping on their heads. Said broken bridge immediately gets fixed. Assholes wait until we cross the bridge before fixing it. We decided to turn back around to meet with the chill Koalamon at the small beach again. This time, he says he'll come back to the city and open up a shop. What an absolute bro. After that, we head back to the green gym to get a quick training session before we head down to a location called Drill Tunnel. As soon as we enter, we get the stink eye from a Goburimon that is standing guard. But we ignore him and head further in where we see a Dremogumon. Dremogumon? I don't know how to say that. Rolling across the floor because he is in heat. And then he proceeds to pounce on our Agumon.
Hey, yo!
Get me off this island, bro. After beating the heat out of him, he finally snaps out of it and says he's gonna go start digging again. Good for him. Now with nothing to do, we head back into the city. And then it finally happened. All our hard work, training, has finally paid off and our Agumon digivolves. This was devastating. Because now we're stuck with the worst Digimon you could get. And if you think, oh that's not so bad, I've used Numamon before in other Digimon games, I'll let you watch this fight, fully unedited. Mind you, this is the first enemy that you can encounter outside the city. Yeah, no, this is a problem. So now I have three options in front of me. Option number 1. Purposely let our boy Numamon die and lose all of the techniques he has. Option 2. Let Numamon fade away naturally. Or option number 3. Restart the entire game over from the beginning. In the end, I decided to just let Numamon fade away by forcing him to study until his brain exploded. I wasted an entire hour because of this. That's 1 hour of my life I'm never getting back because of Numamon. But in the end, Goober fades away, leaving us with a new egg so we can start over. This time, we'll do it right. aka I'm opening game facts because I'm not wasting another hour trying to kill a Numemon again. We are so back. Now with Mimi the Birdramon, we can exact our revenge on that stupid plant. After beating the plant, it decides to go back to the city and give us one of the best upgrade for the city. Palmon here will take over the meat farm and upgrade it into a giant meat farm. Palmon also allows us to buy them so we don't need to forage the forest for mushrooms like some vegan peasant. Heading south from Palmon is a lake, but there's nothing there. But that was a trap, because just like Dark Souls 2, there's always a gank squad. As soon as we leave the lake, we are mugged by 2 Goburimons. Fortunately, we had just enough MP to beat them both. Unfortunately, this janky game put us straight into a warp point, so we go right back into the lake. And now, the gank squad is back for round 2. So I had to run away again. I thought I was trapped in a loop, but somehow I managed to avoid their jumping the third time around. Now that we got our revenge against Palmon, I was completely lost. I didn't know what to do, so I ended up wandering around and ended up finding this random Betamon in the tropical jungle. And he just joins the city. No fighting, no quests, no hassle, no nothing. He even teams up with our bro Koelamon and now runs the shop together. So now we have more items to buy. What a dude! Wandering further ahead, I fight a Yanmamon, which came in clutch because Mimi ends up learning Air Cutter, which will carry us hard for the next few hours. Heading north, we end up in this Overdale area, and I almost got assaulted by a chupacabra looking thing. Bobbing and weaving past them, we end up in a cemetery, and a mansion that we can't enter for some reason. Here we meet a Bakemon. Bakemon? I'll say Bakemon, who is speaking a language that most people cannot understand. French. After saying yes, yes and no, he joins the city. Unfortunately, as soon as we try to leave, the Dark Souls 2 gang squad catches up to us. We are forced to fight them again. But on the plus side, Mimi ended up learning a very strong fire move. But the MP cost is very demanding. After returning to the city, we head back to Drill Tunnel to check up on our bro Dromogimon, who we helped out earlier. He then asked the child to help him, but fortunately, we can make our bird carry all the heavy rocks while we do nothing. Nice! But after a while, our bird is a bit too tired to work, which is a damn shame as I wanted to do more. I yearn for the mines. With nothing else to do, we check up on Digimon, where we find out that our prosperity rate is at 8. Cool. I don't know how prosperity rates work, but if it's similar to redigitize, it's basically just a score. I went back to wandering around and ended up back in the Overdale area. I didn't notice this at first, but there was a path to the right which led me to the Great Canyon entrance. I noticed a square shape by the edge of the cliff, but when I try to go towards it, our character just panics and moves back. Something is up with this area and I just don't have the right tools for it. After a night's rest, we head straight back in the mines. Now that all the rocks and debris are gone, Dromogimon can tunnel through wherever it is he's going faster and hopefully open a new path for us because I have no idea where else to go. While waiting for that tunnel to open up, I had a quick training Mimi's stats up just in case there's gonna be a problem in that tunnel. Now that our brain is at 200 and we got some MP increases, we head back in the tunnel to see Dromogimon, and sure enough, a path is open. Heading inside, we see him struggling with a massive boulder. Using Mimi's strength, we push it further and opening a path. Inside is a Meramon who is crashing the fuck out and is ready to kill everyone via earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. So we go ahead and beat some sense into him. After some talk no jutsu, he joins the city to become a chef and opens a restaurant. This went back to Konoha and opened up an Ichiraku ramen stall, but I digress. The cave was a dud, it leads to nowhere, so now I'm once again lost. On my way back into the tunnel to grab the items that I couldn't, I noticed a new path ended up opening thanks to the Meramon crashing out, so I went in, and as soon as I come in, the Dark Souls gang squad pulls up once again to ruin my mood. After dealing with them, we explored around the place, finding some good items along the way. And then, we reach Gear Savannah. The OST slaps for the first time I heard it, and then I realized the music repeats when you load into another area, so now it quickly became grating. Such a shame. We picked a fight with everything that moves since I wasn't sure who is an NPC and who is an enemy. There is no indicator like there is in Redigitize. Eventually, we run into an Alekmon that shocks us. After all the countless CTE we've endured, I kept trying to talk to him, which eventually leads to him joining the city as a walking talking battery. After beating some CTE into some random Digimons, we head back home because I once again ran out of options on where to go. By some dumb luck, I end up going to this area in the tropical jungle, which was a place I didn't know was accessible. In my defense, I thought that was just the edge of the screen, but now we are in the mangrove region. Naturally, I started beating up the residents to see who is an NPC and who is an enemy. These wings are rated E for everyone. Past this is an area called Amida Forest. Not even one step in, we immediately get threatened saying that they'll shoot on sight. Without any heals, we can't proceed, so we begrudgingly leave back to the city. After picking up some heals, we head right back to trespass on that loser's territory. How dare he shoot us off his lawn? After reaching the end of his lawn, Centaurmon shows up and I'm ready to fold him after all this trouble he causes. He shoots me and then leaves for the city. Later opens a clinic for the city. That man is not a doctor. Past Amida Forest is the ancient Dino region. A few steps in and already we have a healer show up to fight us. Can't even enjoy the view or anything. Turns out bro was just a security guard who was excited to fight someone. It's his first day. Tyrannomon explains that Dino region is split in two. One side has a slower time zone, while the other side has a faster time zone. So we walked around a bit until we reached the end of the area where Tyrannomon awaits. We managed to convince Tyrannomon to let us go through the other side so we can investigate whatever it is that's causing Digimon problems here in the city. I forgot about the story, honestly. Something about a meteor? Anyways, this place is straight up evil. Not only it speeds up time, it's small, cramped, and full of Dark Souls 2 Gang Squad. They had the audacity to put a hidden path where you're supposed to go. I had to look this up because I was running in circles and couldn't find the damn meteor. Satan is real and he made this area. After reaching the area, the meteor that's totally not a Digimon is just sitting there. And surprise surprise, it's a Meteormon. And it wants to rock my shit. After the fight, the Meteormon explains that he doesn't know anything about the disaster happening in the island and just rolls out. And the game is soft locked. I'm pressing every button here but nothing is happening, and waiting for 30 minutes and I'm still stuck. I figured this was a bug or an emulation issue, but apparently the only other person that had this issue was some guy from NeoC from 2013. So, with no other option, we restart from the last save, which was all the way back before we got Centaurmon. Centauromon? I don't know how to say it. So, we go back into Centaurmon's shooting range, fight Tyrannomon again, and finally fight Meteormon again. Fortunately, this time, he rolls out properly and I'm not soft locked. I immediately save stated because I am not doing that again. I head back to the city and save manually, and after that I just wandered around again. Heading back to the ancient Dino region, I recruited Tyrannomon to the city after Black Tyrannomon shows up and completely mogs him, taking over his guard duty. Tyrannomon ended up being a chef or something at Meromon's restaurant. Before leaving the area, I found a Monochromon that mentioned that there was another Monochromon who was a merchant that was very useful, so I noted it down if I run into another Monochromon down the line. I also beat a bunch of people on my way out. I talked to this baby Digimon in the city and he mentioned a rumor about an invisible bridge at the entrance to the Grand Canyon, so I knew exactly where I needed to head towards next. But after saving and talking to Digimon about the current prosperity rates, which was at 15, I leave the place and was confronted by a Greymon who wants a non-existent sign. So we start to beat his ass. He hits like a truck and has a ton of HP, but with the limited HP recovering items I had, I knew we were cooked. Although we got close, Mimi was just not strong enough and we lose one heart. I decided to stock up on some items and head towards the Great Canyon area to recruit more Digimons. Sure enough, the invisible bridge is real and we head further in the canyon. Once we reached the top area of the Great Canyon, we went inside this small shop. There's the Monochromon running the place. He asked us to work for him and I said sure, since I was broke after using all my healing items in that Greymon fight. Now that we're employed, our job is to put the fries in the bag and increase the price for everything sold. Or that's how I think this minigame plays like. We're running this shop like Mr. Krabs run the Krusty Krab.
First of all, congratulations, Mr. Krabs.
Hello, I like money.
After clocking out our shift, Monochromon said that he'll be joining the city after realizing just how greedy we are, and that is the perfect quality that is needed in the city. Monochromon later opens up his own shop and makes Betamon and Coelomon, two of our buddies, into unemployed bums in the city. Leaving the shop, we wander around the area for a bit, fighting random Digimons along the way, and finding this broken elevator. Heading left of the elevator across the bridge, we reach the Freeze Land region, and my Birdramon does not like this area at all. I decided to scope the place out while avoiding every Digimon here since they seem really strong. Eventually, we run into a Garurumon who didn't move, so I foolishly thought he was a regular NPC, and I was kind of right. He had dialogue and it proceeded to beat my ass. That's 2 hearts gone. The worst part of it all is that Garurumon took all our healing items. After getting our ass beat twice, I knew that we needed to train. And we're also in need of some cash, so I went ahead and beat up some wild Digimon. During the money grind, we ended up running into this injured Unimon. Fortunately, I bought a bandage from the Centaur clinic just in case Mimi got hurt. After patching him up, he runs off to the city and works at the Monochromon store. On the way to the Green Gym, we talked to the Yuramon again, and this time he mentioned that there was bad guys around the Great Canyon area, so I noted it down for later. While grinding up some money from beating up wild Digimons, I headed back into the ancient Dino region, because while looking up a guide earlier because I couldn't find the Meteormon's location, there was a small footnote at the end mentioning that Nanimon shows up there later and he drops a very important item. Sure enough, he was there and he drops a keychain that increases our item storage to 20 items. God bless them. And we continued our massacre across the digital world, beating up more Digimons for money and training in between ass beating sessions. But unfortunately, Mimi's time in the digital world is up, and once again we have to start the cycle over. Mimi carried us as much as she could, getting a lot of Digimon to the city. For that, they'll be well remembered. This time, I picked the egg that looks like Yoshi. named him Gon after the goat from Hunter x Hunter. And now we are back to the gym grind set. We finally achieved the dream that we couldn't with Goober. Now Gon the Greymon is here. His stats are still way below that of Mimi, so I don't think he's ready to tackle the bully Greymon and Garurumon. So he's gonna need to hit the gym just a bit more. But that's what I'm calling it for this first video. It might not seem like a lot, but this was 5 hours worth of footage. A lot of it was just me being completely lost and not knowing where to go. Since this was my first proper playthrough, it was to be expected. This game isn't like Redigitized, where the game at least points me to the direction where the game needs me to go. But a lot of elements of Redigitized, I can see its origin here. I love the way the city slowly expands and new structures are built and upgraded. From a small stall to a proper store, this was something Redigitized sorely needed. Everything was pre-built there, and the only addition to the city was a sculpture and a mushroom tower that wasn't even in the city. Redigitize is far more forgiving in terms of Digivolution stats requirement, however. So getting Numemon at the start was genuinely surprising for me since I hit 100 in every stats. But I guess I made too many care mistakes or he wasn't the right weight. That brings up another issue. Care mistakes is absolutely brutal here compared to Redigitize. You barely get any time to find a bathroom and you don't get access to portable potties until you unlock both Betamon and Coelomon's shop. Which isn't hard to get because both don't require any fighting, but for a first time player, how the hell are you supposed to know that? Without any indicator, you don't know who is an enemy and who is a friendly NPC, it's always a gamble. That being said though, I had a blast playing through this game. Besides the Meteormon hiccup, I'm looking forward to playing even more. Although I'm still new to this whole YouTube thing, so the editing and scripting part has been very difficult. You gotta start somewhere, right? Anyways, leave a like and sub, thanks.